Welcome, this is Jim, host of the Faith Influencer Podcast, where we're going to dive into discussions on faith's role in everyday life, from navigating blended families to overcoming challenges. I'm a husband, a father, a Bible teacher, an advocate for applying faith to everyday life. So tune in as I share personal stories, valuable insights, and practical wisdom. Welcome to Faith Influencer Podcast. This is Jim Cunningham. I'm excited to have you again. We have a podcast on blended families and all things family-wise, and we're going to talk about that again today. So I always appreciate you joining me, and I'm looking forward to our topic today. We're talking about the things that glue us together as blended families. Now, let's face it, as a blended family, and if you've not listened before, I have a blended family. I'm 15 years into my blended family. As a blended family, here's what I've discovered. We have so much pulling us apart, so much against us, so much trying to divide us. Blended families are divorcing at such a rapid rate. That's why I've jumped in with this podcast, is to help us overcome some of those things. So if everything's pulling against us, let me give you some things that'll help bring us together. These are some things that glue us together. Maybe it's not what you think I'm going to talk about today. I want to give you three things. As a matter of fact, the third one that I'm going to give you is going to surprise you, so be sure to hang on for the third one. Now, let's talk a little bit about this blended family pulling us apart, bringing us together. Step parenting is very difficult. And I'm going to say this, and you're not going to like it, but step parents are not as good of parents as biological parents. That's just the statistics. Now, I know there are exceptions. I know that there are awful biological parents and there are really good step parents. But the aggregate is that biological parents are better parents for their children than step parents. But now we're going to glue all of that together and we're going to make this thing work. But to do so, we're going to have to find things that bind us. So I want to help you with that today. So I want you to take note of these three things. So with everything pulling us apart, I want to drop this word in our vocabulary today, intentional. I'm asking you on these three things that I'm giving you, and this is just a small part of the list. The list goes way beyond this. I'm asking you to be intentional in finding things that bring your family together. After all, this is our new family. This is our blended family. We have a brand new second chance, third chance, whatever it is for you. Let's make the best of it. Let's not just go through this and discover that it's not working. Let's make it work. But to do so, you have to be intentional. And that word intentional means on purpose. It means deliberate. So we're going to have to get out of our comfort zone, and we're going to have to start thinking about things that we can do that bring us together. Now, I'm asking you, are you willing to be a little creative? Maybe not my strong point, but I'm willing to step out of that and work with my wife on being creative to come up with things to bring us together. Also, are you willing to get out of your comfort zone a little bit? Maybe things that you didn't do in the past that you need to do now to help your family and to bring it together. So here we go. I'm going to give you three. Here's the first one. I can't think of anything that can bind your family together stronger than faith. Now remember, this is called Faith Influencer for a reason. It's because everything we're talking about to be successful finds itself under the umbrella of faith. I want to define that for you, though. When I'm talking about faith, on the faith side, I'm not talking about religion. I want you to know the difference, okay? Religion is not a relationship. Religion is a list. Religion's a list of do's and don'ts. It's that idea that if I do this and don't do that, God will be pleased with me. There's no freedom in that at all. I'm not talking about religion when I say faith. Faith means it is a relationship and a walk with Jesus. That's what faith is. Now, I know there are other cultures out there, other beliefs out there, because I've seen our audience, and maybe it's a Jewish culture. You're listening now, and you're saying, I'm not a part of the Christian faith culture that you're talking about. That's okay. I know that in your faith that you do many things intentional to bring your family together. But under the faith walk, a relationship with Jesus Christ is the strongest thing I know to bind us together. Now, let me break that down. So I said it begins with a relationship with Jesus Christ, and many of you responded before that that's your life as well. But with that, I'm going to suggest some things. One, I'm going to suggest a faith community. I went a direction in my life when I was a teenager that was a faith walk with the Lord. Here's why I went in that direction. Because I was a part of a faith community. I was a part of a local church that had people my age. And that literally changed my life. I was with a community of other teens, and we went a direction to serve the Lord, and it kept me out of a lot of trouble where I grew up, and it gave me direction. I cannot tell you how valuable a faith community is. If you're not involved in that, get your family intentional. Remember, that's our word, deliberate, on purpose. Get your family involved in a faith community. But here's what happens. You begin growing together in the area of faith. And in doing that, it's going to bring you closer together because the tenets of the Christian faith just create that kind of cohesiveness, togetherness. In this faith walk, we're dealing with issues. We understand the importance of forgiveness. We understand to be selfless. We understand to be caring. All of those are part of the faith walk. We're going to grow together. So faith community. Here's something else, and this is something that we've made very important, and I've suggested to many people, and it's blessed their families as well. Okay, so part of the faith community is that leatherback book that a lot of people don't have anymore called the Bible. I know we use our phones often or most of the time now, but there's something really cool about that physical book, the Bible. And here's something that we did a long time ago, and I've suggested to many people, is for everybody in your family, when you have a child, they get to that point where they understand that God's word is important, because it is in the faith walk, make it a big deal to get them a Bible. I love this. I was sharing this with the family the other day. They took my advice, and here's what they did. They went to a local Christian bookstore. They were surprised when they went into the Christian bookstore because of the music. That was the first thing they said they noticed. Then they got a direction from someone who worked there to the Bibles, and I suggested which translation that they get, and they went and found it was for their son. They were new in the faith walk. Their son was already a teenager, but he also was wanting to walk this same faith walk and this relationship with Jesus, and so they let him pick out a Bible. And then in this particular bookstore that I'm familiar with, then they went to the front, and they had his name put on the front of the Bible. He treasures that book, that Bible, God's word. And God's word is powerful. And so they're learning now to take their Bibles, and they each have their own Bible, to gather together in their living room, open up their Bibles, and they're reading through books of the Bible together. And I would suggest that you don't just hodgepodge read the Bible where you open and point and read. I would suggest you read Bible books together. Now remember, what am I doing with this particular topic? I'm telling you, there's nothing stronger to bring cohesiveness to your family than a walk with the Lord. Faith influencer. Everyone get a Bible. Christian music's going to be a big part of this. It's going to be important for your family as well. But now let me say, don't rely on someone else to do this. Don't rely on the church. It's not the church's job. Be a part of a local community, church, but don't rely on the church to do what God's called you to do as parents. And especially you, Dad, especially you. Don't look to your wife to lead in the area of faith. You lead in the area of faith. You step out and be the one who says, okay, on Saturday, kids are out of school. We're all going to get in the car. We're going to go to the Christian bookstore. And everyone who doesn't have a Bible, we're going to get a Bible and put your name on the front of it. And then we're going to read it together. And you be the one who say, okay, let's all sit down, open our Bibles. You be the one who reads. Let others read too, but you be the one who leads in this. So I'm asking you, Dad, to step up in this whole faith walk. So we're being intentional, on purpose, looking for that which binds us together. And there's nothing better than that. Got it? That's number one. All right, number two, we're entering the holiday seasons. We're looking for things that bring blended families together. Every family counselor will tell you that one of the strongest things to bring cohesiveness to a blended family is to create your own traditions. I talked about this before a little in previous podcasts. I want to mention it again. Creating family traditions is creating something that you'll discover is passed down to your children, your children's children, and on. They will remember this, and this will become a source of pride for them. And you've got to be intentional and do it and create it. Create your own family traditions. Give your kids input on the traditions that you create. So now that we have the holidays approaching, and I'm wearing my red holiday shirt today because I'm talking about this, let's talk about Christmas for a moment. You know, one of the traditions that we have, and again, I mentioned this before, but here it is again. One of the traditions that we have in Christmas is that we, before any presents are open or we do anything, we sit down and read the Christmas story out of the Bible book, Luke. I like reading it out of Luke because Luke was a physician and he has a particular perspective on things. And so we read the Christmas story. That's a simple tradition that we do. Some of you have decorating traditions. Whatever it is, be intentional, create some traditions for Christmas. Then there's Thanksgiving. That's coming really quick. Let me give you some ideas for this. How about a gratitude jar? We have what's called a family gratitude jar. So the week of Thanksgiving, we start on Monday, and every day we'll write on a little slip of paper something we're thankful for. Everybody in the family does it. We fold it up, we put it in the gratitude jar. We don't read it. No one reads it. It's in the jar. The lid's on the jar. We do that on Monday. On Tuesday, we do it again. Write something we're thankful for, something different. Everybody puts it in the jar. We do it on Wednesday, and then on Thursday of Thanksgiving, we take a family walk. Okay? This is we don't do this a whole lot. We ought to do it more, but we take a Thanksgiving walk if the weather permits, and we have fun, we laugh, and when we get back, we're going to open the jar. And then each person is going to reach in, and whoever they pick out, they're going to read what that person was thankful for. We go through all of that. We ought to be grateful. And it's Thanksgiving too, right? So a family gratitude jar. That's an easy one. A tradition like that. We have another one, and I'm going to tell you, it's maybe my favorite, is after Thanksgiving, we have a movie marathon. Because that's when all these good movies come, right? Especially all these Christmas movies. So we will sit down the day after Christmas on Friday, and we will begin watching movies, popcorn, eating junk food, just whatever. We just have fun, and it lasts all day long, movie after movie after movie. And you'd be surprised how much everyone loves doing this. The kids especially love doing this. But this is how we end it. We end it on Friday evening that we actually all go together to the movie theater and watch a movie there. So that's just a tradition for us. We have the big movie night. So that's number two. You be creative. You come up with your own ideas for your traditions. Now the third thing. I encourage you to wait for the third thing because it's not what you think. But studies show that what I'm about to tell you is very, very important to families. The third thing that binds us together, that glues families together, is a family pet. Not what you thought, right? A family pet. Now, let me just say, I'm not including cats. I'm not sure cats create. Anyways, that's my own personal thing. Don't get mad at me for that. I'm more talking about a family dog. Dogs are so much fun. I grew up, and all my life, we had a family pet, a family dog. I bet some of you listening right now could show me a picture, a family picture, that you included your pet. Someone's holding the family dog. I promise you, many of you out there could show me that picture. I grew up that way. I had my favorite dog. I had the dog that blew away in the storm. I had my dog that I didn't like so much. We all had family pets. I had my family pet dog that bit my cousin, so they had to put the dog down. I had all of these family pet things. Even now, we have a little family dog who every time you come home, you feel like you're the most important person in the world because this dog is going to go crazy. I don't care what you say to it, what you do, they just love you, right? That family pet. Well, studies show that pets do a lot. You know about this. They take pets to hospitals. They pets for therapy. People who are going through difficult times, they get a pet because it helps them through that and it's companionship. All these studies show that pets are important. Well, God created them for a reason. I'm going to say to you that to have a family pet helps both sides of the family. His, hers, brings everybody together because everybody loves the family pet. So that's a area that binds us together that maybe you didn't think about. Share responsibility when you have a family pet. You have someone that feeds the dog. You have someone that walks the dog. People play with the dog. You get emotional support from the dog. They love you unconditionally. They're always happy. They're always happy. And then they foster playfulness and laughter in your family. So I get why psychologists tell us that a family pet's important. So those are 3 things that bind us together. Be intentional, be on purpose, look for those things, consider the faith walk that I described to you, consider creating your own traditions, and enjoy your family pet. This is Jim Cunningham. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.